This video is for 1.2, building more checkerboard borders. It is actually the second video title, which is here, how to use a table to write an equation. You're going to go ahead and write your notes on the right hand side. And you should have already watched a video before this for section 2-3 out of your Holt textbook, which is how do you solve a multi-step equation. And then you have one more video after that, and you want to make sure you write that next. How do you use a table to write an equation? I have two examples for you to follow along. One of them is very detailed, and the other one we're going to try on our own. This is just to help you with some of the exercises we're going to do in class. Suppose Tasha babysits and charges $5 per every hour that she babysits for. We can actually take that information and create a table. We can say that X will represent the time that she works. You can also represent that with an H. And you can represent the Y with the amount that she earns. And you can represent that as the money or represent that as Y, the variable. So for 1 hour of work, she will make $5. And 2 hour work, she would make $10. If she worked for 3 hours, that would be $15. And for 4 hours of work, she would earn $20. Now that we have a table of values to represent how much money Tasha can make, we can also come up with an equation. The amount earned, which will be Y, is, and therefore that's why we have an equal sign, is $5 times, and this is our symbol for multiplication, the number of hours that she works. It's X. And so we create an equation from the scenario. And one way to write it together in a uniform way would be Y equals 5X. So every time we plug in an X value, our output would give us 5, 10, 15, and so on and so forth. So this equation can be used for any value or number of hours that we want to input. So instead of having to do a long table that goes on for a very long time, maybe Tasha has worked by the end of, a couple of months, she's worked about 100 hours. You don't want to have to do a table of values for 100 different hours worked. Instead, you can take 100, substitute that in for X, and then find out exactly how much money Tasha would make after working and babysitting for 100 hours. Let's determine a relationship between the X and Y values, and we're going to write an equation. So we're first given a relation here. A relation is a set of points, and all of these points can be found when you plot them on a grid, on a coordinate axis, excuse me. And so then we took this relation, which is a set of points, and we created a table. All the X values went in for X, and its corresponding Y values went in for Y on the table. And now we can try to figure out what is happening to X to get Y. I'm going to go ahead and draw a skeleton of what my equation is going to be. We're going to start it off with Y, or whatever the output is of the equation. And here's our equal sign because we're setting up an equation. And now the rest of it, I don't know. I don't know whatever we're doing to X. So I'm going to write X, and we can do something to X. We can add something to it. We can subtract something from it. We can divide it by a number, or we can multiply it by a number. It all depends on what operation is occurring between the exchanges of these two numbers, like 1 and 3, and then 2 and 6. So can you see what's happening? Let's think about what is being added. 1 plus 2 would give us 3. 2 plus 4 would give us 6. So it has to be consistent. That doesn't work. There's no rule to come up with addition. Let's try subtraction. Maybe if I subtract a number. So our first number, what if I subtract 2? I'll get 3. Oh wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Let's go back on that. I can't believe I just said that. If I subtract 4, that wouldn't work either. So you actually can't subtract anything. Let's try multiplying. Maybe if I multiply 1 by 3, I can get 3. So multiply by 3, I would get 3. If I multiply 2 by 3, I would get 6. That's good. And that's multiply. I shouldn't be drawing a big X. Looks like a variable, just written the wrong way. Let's put the little dot. There we go. Multiply by 3. Oh, if I multiply 3 by 3, I get 9. And if I multiply 3 by 4, I get 12. So that's my rule. I need to multiply by 3, and I can create an equation for the relationship between X and the Y values. So I'm going to go ahead and just multiply this X by 3. The best way to do that is you always write the number in front of the variable. and I don't need to put any parentheses or a dot. This automatically represents multiplication. And here's my equation that represents this table. So whenever you're given some data, try to write it in the table, and then you can easily create an equation by looking at the different operations happening between the x and y values.